I'll.
Mary, here, I have the whole language here.
Okay. So, it is recommended that the Board of Education go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 sub 1 sub F for the purpose of considering the social or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary considerations of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations.
Second. I'd like a discussion. I will be voting no on this, and I'd like to keep this brief, but there's 3 reasons. Or 3 points I'd like to make. The first is that the board has discretion on a variety of issues. We have discretion on how the meeting is noticed. We have discretion on what is placed on the agenda. We have discretion on what materials are provided in advance to board members. We have discretion about whether to go into closed session, period. It is not required. It is a choice. And this discretion should be decided using a balancing test between the likely adverse effect upon the reputation of any person and the public's right to know what is going on and what the board is doing and why the board is doing it. And there's kind of 2 live issues in relation to this that I see in the exercise of discretion. One is how this was noticed. And people I respect disagree on whether the notice was legally sufficient. I happen to think it probably was not, but I am not 100% sure about that. There's a big variety of opinions. What I do know is that we have that we could have had a legal notice that provided more information to the public. We could have gotten rid of some of those ors, because I don't know if we're going to be talking about personal histories or data or preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems or investigations. I don't know which of those we're going to be talking about, and that is the public. Secondly, there are controlling Attorney General opinions which say that you may list whether you are talking about administrators, students, teachers, custodians, food service workers. And that would provide more information to the public, but it was chosen not to do that. The discretion was exercised in that manner. And lastly, this has a plural. And I don't know, nor does the public know, if we're talking about multiple people or a single person here. And in Wisconsin, the presumption should be for providing the information necessary. Finally, comes to the choice of what the board knows. The board members, we should have sufficient knowledge to know prior to voting that the information we receive will likely have a substantial adverse effect, and that the nature of that information is such that that adverse effect outweighs the public right to know what we're doing. Since the Board of Education was not providing in advance any materials or any information that was not provided to the public, I don't think I have sufficient information to weigh that, to judge that, so I will be voting no.
Nikki.
I also will be voting no in this situation. As an attorney, I take records very seriously. I read our board notice 3 times. I read the statute 3 times. I can tell you as an attorney, it's not I didn't understand it, it's just complex. I can tell you as a general individual, not listing the subject matter for the public, I think we could do it without listing a name. I think we could list the topic without listing a name. without violating it, and for those reasons and those reasons only, I would be voting against at this time.
Okay.
Let me, if there's other language that's acceptable to us that would have clarified, and in some of these email streams I saw some seemingly simple petitions that would have probably satisfied stuff. I think erring on the side of that would be, that's not even, I'm not erring on this, but including those simple suggestions that would satisfy stuff, seems to be going forward, that's what we should do. This issue is moving so quick that I don't want to delay discussion on it. I want to hear what we got to say today. But I want to discuss this among the board. I want to do it today. So I'm interested more in solving the problem that people like to see and the structure of how we do this. People complained about it, and again, like people I respect complained about it, and I think we should address those complaints, but I want to go through with this today and get over it.
Yeah, Dean, I would concur with you. TJ?
Dean, based on the information provided to the public, can you tell me what the issue is that you're discussing? That is so important that we have to discuss it today? Because I don't know what it is.
I'd like to interject, if that's all right.
Yeah, please do.
I think if it's helpful to the board, I think Matt should weigh in as the person who wrote the public notice and worked with Barb on it. I think that would be helpful maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the information that were relayed, that might negate the interest that we're trying to protect.
Can you speak up there, Andy?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
Good idea.
Not trying to interrupt Mary.
Sure. So
No.
I think there's a dual-fold purpose of the exemptions to open meetings. One is to have the openness to the public, and the other, that are listed in the exemptions, is to protect certain aspects of, say, reputation. That's what we're talking about here. What I'm fearful of is that if the information the dean is aware of, that he's been made aware of, from whatever source, if that were conveyed in this meeting, we would negate the very purpose for going into closed session. That would be my concern.
My only other thought, I just want to put that out there to the board, and you'll decide whether or not you want to go into closed session momentarily, but if the board wants to reissue a different stated reason for closed session, we would have to reschedule it for another day.
Yeah, I think, for me, I see two separate issues here. One is the issue that's been brought forward, was the meeting properly noticed. That's something we can deal with moving forward. I'm going to lean to our legal counsel and the person that's representing us on this issue. And so whether it's legally noticed, whether we should be doing a better job of being more descriptive, I think that's something we can deal with, and we need to deal with it correctly moving forward. But the matter before us today, whether I have total knowledge of that matter or not, it's on the docket, I like to hear it. I think we have some issues here that we're well aware of, and we don't need to push it back, we need to resolve it and get it done. And so I say there's two separate issues. Don't object, disagree with anyone. If anything anyone said in terms of the noticing of the meeting, that's something that we can work on moving forward. But we need to deal, for me, I want to deal with the issue. I don't want to reschedule the meeting to another time.
Gloria, just to bring you up to speed, there is a motion on the floor to go into closed session. It has been seconded. We are now in discussion, and
Sure.
just wanted to brief you before.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. So, I mean, I'm really sensitive to the personnel issues, right? I mean, if that is what we're going to talk about today, I think we should go into closed session now. If we needed to talk about the culture of the school and other areas, then I think we have to do that in open session. And I think that is what the community would want to hear. right? I think that our stakeholders would want to hear, having a conversation of the culture of within Sherman, staying away with the personnel issues. We just have to really be careful to stick through the personnel as you advised. I cannot see us going into open session and open dialogue when it pertains to a personnel matter, period. So,
Yes.
So one last thing to say is the exception is not about personnel matters. The exception is about, and it's a discretionary exception, about information that is likely to damage the reputation, and it's been widely interpreted that if information is already in the public record, that that does not justify a closed session. So it would have to be new information likely to damage. And I have not seen any evidence that we will receive new information. I honestly believe that we probably will, and if I had been provided with that in advance, I would be objecting to the notice, but not to the closed session as an idea. But since the Board of Education has been kept in the dark as to the materials that we were going to be presented today, I have nothing to base this on, except for trust, and I have to say my trust has run out.
Call the question.
Yeah. Yes. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
We are going into closed session for 2.